get them Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. They should give them to there at the bank when they come in. Are we on? Oh, okay, I didn't hear it say. Good morning, world. This is Fellowship of Spirit from beautiful Farmington, New Mexico, and we are happy to be here on this beautiful Easter Sunday. I hope that you are in a place that is glorious as we have the weather here. Some of you not so much in other places. I'm hearing it's pretty bad back east. But it's glorious here, and we're happy to be here, and we're glad that you're here with us. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Susan. It's so good to see you both. Oh, and Donna Neva. I did not see that. Good morning, Donna Neva. We will miss you this morning at potluck. Mark, we always miss your beautiful desserts. I did make a ooey gooey carrot cake, but it's not nearly as pretty as your stuff is. Anyway, our mission statement is to positively affect the world by extending peace, love, spirituality, understanding, and friendship to all people with grace and gratitude. Our vision is to be a spiritual center of awakening the I Am Christ consciousness, and our membership is open to anyone. And with that, welcome Chris as a visitor, and it's nice to see you always. And Susan Barnes from Belize will be giving us our opening prayer.
Gary, did you want that now, or do you want that after the interview?
I don't know. Am I supposed to do something? Oh, I forgot. It would help if I would read this thing. It really has an amazing amount of information on it. Our prelude is by Shay Johnson. It is called Holy Angels, and it is written by Sarah Thompson.
Actually, I changed things around a little bit.
Okay.
I'll sing that one later. But
Okay.
first, I'm going to sing the loving kindness mantra. So a couple of the songs that I sing today are going to be by Sarah Thompson, and I'll be singing her music. And then a couple of the songs I wrote the music myself. So, and this one, the loving kindness mantra, comes from Buddhism. So the words are not mine, but the tune is mine. May I be free of worry. May I be well. May I feel safe and at ease. May I be at peace. May you be free of worry. May you be well. May you feel safe and at ease. May you be at peace. May we be free of worry. May we be well. May we feel safe and at ease. May we be at peace.
Beautiful. Thank you, Shay. Okay, now we can do our opening prayer with Susan from Belize.
Good morning. Happy Easter.
Good morning.
It's the beginning of a new start in a way. So if we would be willing to close our eyes and open our top chakra to allow the energy to flow down and into every part of our body. Creator, Mother, Father God, we give thanks for this day. We give thanks for this new beginning in a new way of looking at things. We give thanks for each and every person here, for all of their loved ones. We give thanks for their good health, not only in their body, but in their mind and in their emotions. May all of these be in harmony with your will and to bring peace not only to them, but to all those around them. We give thanks for the opportunities that we have to, when we meet people, when we go forward in our lives, to meet each and every situation, knowing that you stand there with us, holding our hands, guiding us to the perfect outcome of whatever it is. We give thanks for the abundance that you have given us, the very life, and for all of the good things that come into our lives, and even for those things that at first may not seem so good. We give thanks for their lessons and for the beauty that comes afterwards. For all these things, we give thanks. And Jerry?
Yes. Usually you say namaste or something like that. Give me a hint that it's over. Okay. Namaste. And thank you, Susan, for those words of wisdom for us. We have a song, and I'm not sure which one it's going to be, so I'll let Shay tell us.
This one I'm singing it as written. What Shall I Give by Sarah Thompson. All the music that I'm doing today is either a prayer or something from the divine speaking to us. So, what shall I give to you? What shall I give to you? Oh, that we could give like the rain, pouring out on rich and poor the same. Oh, that we could give like the sun, shining light on everyone. What shall I give to you? What shall I give to you? Teach us how to give, we pray, offering our work and play. Oh, that we could learn how to care. Every breath we breathe a prayer. What shall I give to you? What shall I give to you? Oh, that like the bread we become, scattered grains all gathered in one. May the cup of blessing you give fill us and teach us how to live. What shall I give to you? What shall I give to you? What shall I give to you? What shall I give to you?
Beautiful. Thank you, Shay. If you will read along in your bulletins with me, we will do our reflective moment. Love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever, and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as we create an atmosphere of holiness, and so it is. And will you do our energy treatment? Do you want me to pin it on you?
I
Just hold it. Okay.
All right, time for our energy treatment. So everyone just take, first of all, we're going to take 3 deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. So take 3 deep breaths with me. Now we're going to take 3 more deep breaths, and we're going to call in, we're just going to visualize the light of love coming in through the top of our heads as we inhale. We're going to inhale that light of love, and then when we exhale, we're going to send that in a visualization, we're going to send that out into the universe for whoever needs it the most, who's ever open to receiving it. And it goes to the people that it will benefit. So now we're going to do nice 3 deep breaths. Bring in the chi. And thank you, everyone, for sharing and creating chi with me. And I would recommend everyone getting a breath exercise, a breathing exercise, where you do breathing with a few movements like Tai Chi or Qigong. It has really been a blessing in our lives. So, thank you.
Actually, the one that I learned a long time ago was do it anytime you're just sitting someplace, whether you're sitting in traffic at a stoplight or in line someplace at the grocery store. But if you breathe in for 4 and hold it for anywhere from 4 to 8, and then exhale for 4. And it teaches you to deep breathe. It teaches you to breathe into your abdomen as opposed to just shallow breathing up at here. And so when you're sitting someplace and doing nothing, do your breathing, okay?
It's amazing because we're all one. It's amazing how it benefits all of us when one of us does it. So it's kind of a hard concept to think about, but I have noticed in the community, I mean, when I share chi in my neighborhood, I send it out into my neighborhood, into my community, probably has changed me, but my whole community looks different.
What Kate is saying is that when she shares her chi in her neighborhood, it feels like she's sharing with the whole community, and she feels like it's benefiting everybody around her as well as herself. And this is all something we all can do. So keep this in mind. Thank you. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a spiritual, oh, we have a song, wait a minute. No, we don't. We have spiritual reading. Does anybody have a spiritual reading? No? Okay, just a minute. I've got one. I have a little book here called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, because it's all small stuff. And this one is called Relax. What does it mean to relax? Despite hearing this term thousands of times during the course of our lives, very few people have deeply considered what it tells about, what it really means. When you ask people, which I have done many times, what it means to relax, most will answer in a way that suggests that relaxing is something you plan to do later. You do it on vacation, in a hammock, when you retire, or when you get everything else done. This implies, of course, that most of the times, the other 95% of your life should be spent nervous, agitated, rushed, and frenzied. Very few actually come out and say so, but due to the obvious implication, could this explain why so many of us operate as if life were one big, great emergency? Most of us postpone relaxation until our in the basket is empty. Of course, it never is. It's useful to think of relaxation as a quality of heart that you can access on a regular basis rather than something reserved for some later time. You can relax now. It's helpful to remember that relaxed people can still be superachievers, and in fact, that relaxation and creativity go hand in hand. When I'm feeling upright, for example, I don't even try to write. But when I feel relaxed, my writing flows quickly and easily. Being more relaxed involves training yourself to respond differently to the drama of life, turning your melodrama into a mellow-drama. It comes in part from reminding yourself over and over again, with loving kindness and patience, that you have a choice as to how you respond to life. You can learn to relax, to relate to your thinking as well as your own circumstances in new ways. With practice, making these choices will translate into a more relaxed self. And I don't know about other people, but the one thing that relaxes me is working on stained glass. And I'm sure Chris is that way too with painting, that once you get into that zone of working, you're just as mellow and relaxed as you can be. You're not uptight, you're not frustrated, you're not, oh wait, I've got to go do this, and wait, I've got to go do that, like the rest of your life goes. So practice finding that relaxation spot. Okay, and now we have a song, I bet. This one is which?
Holy Angels.
Holy Angels, the one that was up there in the front. Okay.
Yeah. You are held by holy angels, holy angels all around you. Hush now, sleep, child, sing the holy angels. We are holding you. You can rest. Morning will come, child. The dawn will break through the darkness. We are holding you through the light of the newborn day. Lulu, 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 Lulu. You are held by holy angels, holy angels all around you. We are holding you. You can rest.
We have a very dear person to us that lives way out east. I don't even like to think of where he is most of the time because he's had pretty terrible weather lately, but our dear Mark Wolf was with us for a long time, and now he's not with us physically, but he is with us by Zoom, and I sometimes feel him almost as much through there as I did when he was standing right next to me. So I would like you all to welcome Mark Wolf, who's going to tell us the secrets of Easter.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm taking that's my cue. Am I supposed to say something? All right, that's a yes. Okay. Listen, good morning to everybody. Good morning to everybody out there in beautiful Fellowship of Spirit in Farmington, New Mexico. Good morning to the Zoomers. Good morning, Zoomers and YouTubers and everybody else. Happy Easter. A lovely, 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 blessed Easter, bright Easter Sunday. Passover began this past Wednesday evening at sunset, and now we are in the middle of the days of unleavened bread. But we'll get to that in a minute. But back to Easter. Listen, Susan's opening prayer and this choice of music today. I mean, this is the perfect overture. It's just really is beautifully coordinated, even though we didn't talk to one another. So Easter, is the high point in the Christian calendar. And actually, Easter embodies the entire point of Christianity. And without Easter, there's really not any point to it. the whole purpose of Christianity centers back on Easter. It rotates around Easter, along with, as the Catholic Church calls it, the glorious mysteries, the mysteries of Easter. And being the day that really defines Christianity, you know, Easter has been studied and talked about and by scholars for centuries, scholars a lot smarter than I am. And so, you know, what's left to say? I mean, seriously, what's left? What is there about Easter that's not already been said? We've already heard it a gazillion times, you know? And now the appearance of unprecedented darkness and chaos and conflict in our world is screaming, calling out, and begging for the presence of an unprecedented light. So, in calling this morning's message, The Secrets of Easter, I don't mean to elevate myself above my teachers, but I do want something new for you. I want something new. I want something that you have not already heard, hopefully, something that you have not already encountered over and over and over again. Because listen, our spiritual muscles have to be challenged, all right? Our vessel, our ability to hold the spiritual light needs to be stronger. Because here's the thing. Spiritual light from the Creator it has a tendency to turn into religion when it's all the same thing year after year and there's nothing new. It doesn't go anywhere. It just goes around and around and that's it. It doesn't challenge. It doesn't grow. It just wants everybody to be nice and quiet and, you know, do what you're told. A spiritual light, let me tell you something. You need to know this. Spiritual light will challenge you. All right? If you're not feeling challenged, you may not be connecting to much spiritual light. Spiritual light will challenge, and it will either support your growth and transformation, or it will force you to grow and transform. Okay, there's the choice. Doesn't matter how old you are, or how many times you've been through this, there's still more. And we have a choice, you know. We can lean into it and say, I'm doing this. I'm growing and I'm transforming. I am embodying the spiritual light and sharing the spiritual light more and more than ever before. Or it can be forced upon us. Now, it seems now that this transformation is now being demanded of us. Okay? So let's talk about that. So let's start from the beginning. I like to start from the beginning. Genesis, first book in the Bible. And I'm going to tell you, in many ways, the most interesting. It really is. The book of Genesis opens up, and you know, everything is light. Everything is light. God, the creation starting, and the creation of light. Unity, life, light, energy, consciousness, purpose, love, intent. But it was all wrapped up, all of that is wrapped up in the single term, light. Okay, just, you know, the kind of shorthand, we're going to call it light. Now keep that in mind, and in a few minutes, we're going to see how the book of Genesis ends. It ends in exactly the opposite way. So anyway, 7 days of creation. All right. Now, please, not literal days on the calendar, but rather 7 stages, 7 levels, or 7 dimensions of creation. And as we approach the light of Genesis, we have to remember that it's not all supposed to make sense. Okay, well, it don't make any sense. Okay, that's all right. It doesn't have to. Not everything has to make sense to us right now. And when it makes no sense, that's okay. We have to realize that the parts that make no sense and the parts that defy understanding are there on purpose, for the purpose of concealing and holding the light, of creating a vessel to hold the light. And I strongly suspect that most of this concealed light has been concealed to keep it safe for an emergency. You know, if in an emergency, break glass. And every day it seems to me, I keep feeling this, that the Creator is telling us, break the glass, break the glass. You know, get this concealed light is here for you. Break the glass. So it's like what I call a secret stash. The secret stash of the Creator's light, and it's set aside for the time when we might need it the most. So let's listen. now to a very familiar passage in Genesis. It's generally so familiar we've stopped hearing it. But it's beautiful, and I love this. We're going to start in Genesis chapter 2. So it's what it says. The Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree in the garden thou mayest freely eat. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Period. Okay, now there's a huge problem here. Okay, and there's a huge problem in this text. And in the moment you see it, you can't make it you can't make it go. It's one of those. We like those. There's light, there's life, and everything is fresh and new and perfect and just full of the Creator's light and life and love. But listen, for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Okay? So if we get into that frame of mind that everything is brand new, it's just been created, what is God talking about? You shall die. What does that mean? What does it mean? In this context, what does it mean? In other words, we know very well what it means now. We're way too acquainted with it now. But in the creation story, nothing has ever died. There is no death. There are no endings. It doesn't exist. So what are we talking about? What is God telling us, and we don't even know what it is, and we're agreeing to it? Okay, we'll die. Well, what is that? We don't know. You know, it's all been created. To die, that doesn't mean anything, because nothing's ever died. You know, death and endings do not exist. And now listen, we see that this is interesting. It was a long time before I really noticed this, that Adam is alone. You know, he's there with the animals. But in the story, and the way the story's told, he's the only human. And then the creation of Eve comes next. So she never heard this thing about the tree of don't eat that thing. Because in the story, it happened before she arrived. So how's she even supposed to know? Okay, now it just spins into craziness. Okay, so if we go by the story, the way it's written, death doesn't exist. Nothing has ever died. But God is talking to Adam about death. And we've always been okay with it. So now later arrives Eve, the woman in the story, has never heard this thing about tree of knowledge. And we enter the famous serpent, you know, the one that talks. He says, hey, lady, come here. So, did God say, you shall not eat from every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the servant, oh, no, we're allowed to eat from the trees. But the tree in the middle of the garden, yeah, God said we mustn't eat it or even touch it or we'll die. And so the conversation about this non-existent concept continues. It says something that no one has ever heard of, nobody's ever experienced, something that didn't even exist, and yet here we are discussing it with a snake. What? And the serpent continues the conversation and says, yeah, you're not going to die. You're not going to die. Because God knows that in the moment you eat thereof, you will become like God, knowing good and evil. And what happened? All right, we eat the fruit. Did anybody die? No. Now, remembering that these stories are not literal stories. In other words, not a history, okay, of things that actually happened the way they're described. All right, now listen, the sages of the Kabbalah teach that yes, we took the fruit. That's pretty obvious. But here's the secret. The first bite of the fruit was completely innocent and done completely in love, with the intent of fulfilling our purpose and becoming like God. You'll become like God. Okay, that's easy. Eat the fruit, you know. First bite of the fruit of knowledge, the first bite of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil was for the purpose of receiving and sharing the light. We wanted to become like God because we loved God so much. We wanted to become like God. We wanted to become like the Creator. And so now we have the fruit of the tree of knowledge, and you taste it, you'll become like God, knowing good and evil. And it was true. Okay? They told you it was a lie. It was true. The first taste of the fruit was complete ecstasy. All right? It was this huge infusion of the Creator's light. It was coming in. It was brighter and brighter. It's this huge elevation of consciousness, this love and joy and connection to everything and understanding. The problem was the experience was overwhelming. Okay, our ability to receive that much light was overwhelmed, and the ecstasy of the experience began to crash. All right, and then so there was a second bite that was taken. That's the secret. The second bite, because the taste of the fruit was so extraordinary. Oh, so good. There was a second bite, and that second bite of the fruit was simply for desire, for the purpose of receiving it for myself, because it's so delicious. I want it. I'm hungry. Oh, I want this for myself. And then, because of that selfishness, the vessel broke. Okay, it shattered. It shattered. The influx of divine light overwhelmed the ability to receive it. Kind of, if you can imagine a fire hose and a paper cup, you know what's going to happen? Well, the paper cup's going to get blown away somewhere downstream, you know, and the vessel shattered. The vessel like a broken mirror, and the broken pieces fell down into the physical world, where each broken piece of the mirror became a separate individual covered with skin. In other words, people, like we see now, individuals, each one with an ego, that was actually the snake who became part of our consciousness. And that ego would divide one person from another, one intent from another, and before long, one family, one country against one another. An ego that would cut us off from God by restricting the amount of light that we could connect to. And then the text says something else that doesn't make any sense, because the thought is incomplete. It stops in the middle. And this is something that has bothered me seriously. It has bothered me since I was a teenager. This Genesis chapter 3, verse 22. The Lord God said, "Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever." The end. Boom, right in the middle. It ends. It just ends right in the middle. It just stops. But here's the secret. It's the most extraordinary teaching. It's telling us that first, the way it simply ends, just right in the middle of the thought, shows us that a new player has quietly entered into existence. It had not existed before we brought it into being. That new player is ending, right? Ending. Up until then, nothing had ever ended. Okay? But now, things could end. Anything could end. Everything would end, because everything was contaminated with ending. Next, it shows us that our ego, it shows us that God respected our choice. He respected our choice. Not going to send us to our room and punish us and do all of this, but rather we're going to have to fix this. we're going to have to fix this. And then it shows us that if we had connected to the tree of life at that point in the story, okay, then there would have been no possibility of fixing it. If we had connected to the tree of life in that moment, it would have all been frozen, and there would have been no coming back from it. We would have been permanently separated from the Creator. And then it shows us that we were not going to be able to reconnect to the light without some help. Can't do this on our own. And there is where the story actually begins. The rest of the book of Genesis is a story. It's very interesting too. Very interesting read. It really is. It's a story of how the Creator led us, not our ego, one little step at a time back toward the light. It had to be little steps so that we would not be overwhelmed again. And then the book of Genesis ends. Okay? It begins with a burst of light and creation, and then it ends. But how does it end? Okay? It ends with death and exile. Okay? By the end of the book of Genesis, the children of Israel are living in Egypt. And this is deeply symbolic. And it means that the divine light is now living on earth and has an individual ego subject to death. Genesis chapter 50, the last words in the book of Genesis. And Joseph made the children of Israel swear an oath, saying, God will certainly visit you, and you must carry my bones out of here. And Joseph died at 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. The end. How depressing, you know? I mean, that is so depressing, okay? What a sad ending for this beautiful story. But ending had come into existence, and endings mean death. Death means goodbye, whether you want to say goodbye or not. But wait, there's more. Thank you, there's more. Thank you that there's more. Thank you that there's more. God took the existence of endings and with extraordinary love and wisdom revealed a blessing. Okay? Because our exile in the physical world would end. Death would end. And endings would end. And goodbyes would end. And ending would be turned upon itself until the ending was ended forever. So, how are we going to get there? Well, there was a plan. The first plan was to get these folks to lift them up out of Egypt and give them law. And the law would be a vessel for the light. The second piece of the puzzle would be to give a way to reduce ego, gradually reducing it until ego would become what it was supposed to be, the servant of the light. The book of Exodus, the second book in the Bible, takes the story forward. Now, in Exodus, we know there would be a giving of the law, and there would also be given to us a technique for gently reducing ego and increasing the light. That technique was what we call Passover. All right? Passover was a gift. It was an extraordinary, miraculous gift that would reduce our ego consciousness so that we could connect to the light, and the light could connect with us more and more. The Creator told us, it's kind of strange if you stop and think about it. The Creator says, okay, y'all are going to have to eat unleavened bread for 7 days, beginning on the evening on the 15th day of the month of Nisan. Now, unleavened bread, well, what is that? And certainly, what difference does it make? Unleavened bread, wait a minute. This is a piece of unleavened bread. All right, it's made out of wheat that has been protected and kept from getting wet, and it's a lot of process that goes with this. But it's just simply wheat flour and water that's baked very quickly at a high temperature before it has an opportunity to start to rise. Wheat will rise as soon as it gets wet. And unleavened bread unleavened bread means bread made without yeast. Well, if it has no yeast, it won't rise. Yes, that's the point. Yeast means ego. And this is bread without ego. And eating this bread without ego would cause our own human ego to grow less and less and allow the light to come in more and more slowly, so that our ability to receive it would not be overwhelmed. We could grow our ability to receive it in order to receive more and more. Now, why is yeast the same as ego? Because the yeast makes the dough puff up. Ego is our puffed up sense of self-importance and selfishness. Ego is the sense that we are so amazing. Oh, we're so amazing on our own. We don't need any help. We don't need any help. But at the same time, ego is also the sense that we are victims and we are helpless and powerless and can't do anything for ourselves. That's ego as well. And it's no surprise. It's no surprise that the Course in Miracles says ego is insane. It's spot on. Ego is doubt. It is also, at the same moment, self-importance. Ego wants everything just for itself alone. Don't care about you. This is for me. And so we have to remove these inner obstacles. We're here to do this. Remove these inner obstacles so we can connect to the light and elevate consciousness. And so then the Creator gave us very specific instructions, very specific design specs for a temple. Not just any temple, but one that was going to be built in a specific way. It says, build this temple, make this building so I can connect with you in a much more intimate manner. And then the sacrifices, we talked about this a few weeks ago, the sacrifices in the temple then were for the purpose of reducing our ego. The sacrifices were never for God. They were for us. God didn't need them. But reducing ego consciousness day by day was something that we really needed. And then, once a year, a window would open, a spiritual window would open, and we would be able to bring in the light simply by eating unleavened bread for a week. That window would open every year beginning at sundown on the 15th day of the month of Nisan. So let's skip ahead. We got to circle back to Easter this morning. The secrets of Easter. Now, we're going to circle back. Okay, the Romans. We're skipping ahead. The Romans would call him Jesus, just like the Greeks called him Jesus. But his name was Yeshua, right? Yeshua ben Yosef. And Rabbi Yeshua was Jewish. He was from the tribe of Judah and the lineage of David the king. And Rabbi Yeshua brought a consciousness and a spiritual light, all right? Now, what does spiritual light do? It challenges. Spiritual light challenges us to grow and to transform. What does religion do? Religion says, everybody be quiet and do what you're told. We're in charge. Y'all be quiet. That's religion. So, what could possibly go wrong here? Well, let's take a look at Mark's Gospel, chapter 14. Mark's Gospel, chapter 14 says, after 2 days came the feast of Passover and unleavened bread, and the chief priests and scribes sought how they might take hold of him with a trick. And so Rabbi Yeshua and his closest disciples met together to begin the Passover with the traditional meal called the Seder. After the Seder, Rabbi Yeshua went outside to pray, and there he was arrested. Now, he was charged with a variety of crimes and bounced back and forth between jurisdictions until finally he was condemned to death by crucifixion. This was early in the day of Passover, the 15th day of the month of Nisan. After being nailed onto the cross, the rabbi died quickly. It was Friday, the 15th of Nisan. The Sabbath, the Shabbat, was going to start at sundown, and so they had to work fast in spite of their grief their fear, their shock. They had to work fast because according to Jewish law, a body could not be left unburied after sundown. So it's this hurry up job. We got to get this done. No time to waste. We'll figure out the details later. But right now we got to hurry. And then at sundown, the Shabbat began on the 16th of Nisan. Work was prohibited. Everybody stayed home. Then at sundown, it was the 17th of Nisan. Shabbat was over. It was the first day of the week, first day of the new week. And as the sun rose, and so they had light to see, the women went to the tomb to tend to the body of Rabbi Yeshua. But nobody was there. It says, why are you looking for life in the place of death? Why are you looking for continuity in the place of endings? So, in order to keep us disconnected from the light, religion took the days of spiritual light and changed them around so that those days didn't correspond with the open windows anymore. It was no longer Passover. It was Good Friday, and the date could float around on the calendar. No longer a Passover Seder, but the Last Supper. But here's the secret of Easter. Okay, I promised you the secrets of Easter. On the night, this is a Jewish spiritual teaching, a mystical teaching that goes way back. On the night of the death anniversary of a righteous individual, a window opens, and all the light that righteous person revealed becomes available again for us to connect to and tap into. This means beginning at sunset on the 15th of Nisan, all the light that Rabbi Yeshua revealed during his short lifetime becomes available once again. Year after year, to help us, and it's right there, so you know exactly when it's going to be, year after year, to help us reduce our ego and reconnect to the light and fix this thing and bring an end to endings. Now, when the women arrived at the let's try that one again. When the women arrived at the empty tomb, the spiritual teaching there, okay, the spiritual teaching is that endings are not the boss. How wonderful is that? Endings are not the boss. Endings have no power. Endings have no power over us, nor any authority over us. And if you stop and think about it for a couple of seconds, you realize, wait a minute, endings don't exist. What is an ending? It's like a hole in the ground. Well, it's nothing. Endings are nothing. They're nothing. And even if we look out and we see things that seem to end. We see people who seem to die. But endings have no permanent power or authority over us, even if it seems the opposite. But here's the thing. Together, we brought endings into the world. Together, we will kick endings into the pit. And death and goodbye and endings will be no more forever. Eternity will have victory over time. Forever will have victory over loss. And there will be no more tears. There will be no more goodbye. Life will have victory over death. The power is the light that is within us when the ego is removed. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Instead, be contrary. Be contrary. You know, like my mother used to say to me, now don't be contrary. Be contrary. All right? Instead of being discouraged, be certain. Okay? Have certainty, not faith. We need to move beyond that. Have certainty that the darkness we see is there to accomplish a good purpose. If we could see like God, I'm certain we would be overwhelmed with joy watching the light flowing into the world. But here's the secret. Here's the secret. The darker the night, the greater the light. Okay. First the night, then the light. First opening chapters of Genesis, first the darkness, then the light. The darker the night, the greater the light. Okay. So be a channel. Be a channel. Said, here I am, I'm a channel. Be a channel. Be a channel of the Creator's light. And love and kindness. Be a channel of forgiveness and sharing and peace. If not us, then who? And if not now, then when? That's what will tear the holes in the night and bring peace to our world. The secret of Easter is victory, and that victory is ours right now. Be certain and be excited. It's a good time to be on the earth. Happy Easter. Love, blessings. Jerry,
Mark?
back to you.
You know, I love when you explain, especially the Old Testament to me, because it was so literal when it's written that it's hard not to take it at face value. And so I love when you explain it so that it's not so cut and dried. It's a little more ambiguous, if that's the right word, I'm not sure. But I love the fact that you explain it that way. And I love the fact that you put a brighter look on Easter, because it goes more in the way of what we would like Easter to be. And so I like the way you explain it. And you've always made it easier for me to understand the Old Testament. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say to Mark today?
I would love to say something to Mark. Wow, incredible. So many new concepts, and that ties everything together, and that makes all of the things that we go through, it explains it, it helps us. And of course, I love the fact that everything ties in, rather, whatever your belief is. It helps to tie it together and helps us to make a new beginning, because there are no endings, only new starts. And we keep starting over and over until we learn there's no endings.
Yes.
And I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, Mark. Frankly, I was a little disappointed because I thought the secrets of Easter were going to be how to find all the Easter eggs.
Oops. There's always
But
next year.
no, I just kidding. I learned that death is no longer king. In fact, death is a pauper. Thank you for your
Yes.
teaching.
Yes.
Thank you for your teaching.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Mark. Always words of wisdom and always an enlightened way of looking at things. Thank you very much. And happy Easter to you. And I hope that you are spending it with loved ones.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, and we have a song by Shay. I think this is the one she wrote. This is called Answered Prayer.
So this is a poem I wrote a couple years ago. I don't know, year and a half maybe. And then about Christmas I had the desire to put it to music. So here we go. Oh God, be near me. I feel alone and you so far away, way up in the spring of renewal, as warm and bright as ever. Oh God, embrace me. I feel that chaos, hate, and fear abound throughout every country. It's dark. I fear future days, for the balance is shifting. Please remind me that you remain like a shelter, steadfast, true, still standing. And right will prevail because your will is perfect and it never changes. Oh, child, I am near you. There is nowhere that I am not. I'm in the bright sunlight, kissing your cheek. I'm in the cool soil, grounding your feet. I'm in the wildfire, scorching the land. I'm in the falling rain, reviving life. Oh, child, I embrace you. Feel my touch in your thoughts. I'm in the warm blanket, wrapping you round. I'm in the dark midnight, perfect for sleep. I am in sacred death, granting new life. I'm in the fall, I'm in your neighbor's face, displaying love. I am everywhere, everywhere. Look for me, where you think I'm not. Look for me, look for me, look for me, and find me there, and find me there.
Wow. That's the one you wrote the music to? Her talent grows. Her talent grows and grows. It really does. She wrote the songs, the words to this, a poem, some time ago, and now she has put it to music herself, and she just amazes me.
Yep, me too.
She just amazes me. Beautiful, Shay. Thank you so much for sharing your blessings with us. Okay. If you will take your offerings in hand and place them over your heart and repeat with me. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Through infinity, I am prosperous. Thank you, Steve. We are having our Easter dinner today, and I'm so happy to see you all here, and I hope that those of you in Zoom land and in the rest of our area and the rest of our outlying experience have a wonderful Easter dinner also with family and friends. And for those of you that are in stressful situations or in stressful places right now, I hope that this all becomes easier to deal with soon. I'm hoping that all will go well. I'm sorry? Okay. Yes. We have something from one of our children. Stephanie?
I'm just going to be reading one of the readings I usually do. What is Easter? It's not about the eggs to hunt. It's not about a bunny. It's not about brand new clothes or candy as sweet as honey. On this day, many years ago, a man named Jesus Christ upon a cross for you and me, gladly gave his life, not for our sins that he had done or crimes he must repay. He did it all for you and me. For our sins he died that day. But that's not the end of Jesus Christ. They put him in a grave, but 3 days later he rose again. Our sin debt had finally been paid. So this Easter, as you hunt for eggs, dressed up in brand new clothes, don't think about the Easter bunny, think about why Christ arose.
Thank you, Stephanie. We appreciate you. And we have Bill Clark, who's going to give us saying to get out of here.
You don't have to leave, we'd like you to stay. Today's topic is multitasking. He who hunts 2 hares leaves one and leaves one and loses the other. Japanese proverb. Let me do that one again. Multitasking. He who hunts 2 hares leaves one and loses the other. It kind of says like, if you try to do too much, you'll end up getting less accomplished. We strive to be efficient as possible, making our movements work double and even triple time. Yet, we are all familiar with the sting and disappointment of divided attention. At work and at home, it hurts to be the recipient of half-hearted listening and shortcuts. Becoming too focused and getting everything done quickly can complicate things. Balancing a handful of tasks at once, we forget important details and make mistakes. Perhaps it's time to adjust a little. The walkaway is, there are some relationships that have been hurt by my hurried pace. I have the time to focus on the individual purpose or task entrusted to me in each moment. I think what basically we're saying is concentrate one thing at a time, mindfulness, move forward. God bless everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you, Bill. My mantra on that one is live in the moment. Don't think of what you got to do. Don't think what you have done. Think of what you're doing right this moment. And try to just find 1 hair, not 2. Okay. If you will all join me up front here, we will sing our way out of here and go have wonderful food. One, two, three. God